Hello my dear students of class 11 science, welcome to biology class. Today we are going to start with the new chapter, morphology of flowering plants. And the most important thing is that most of the topics from this chapter has been removed because we are following the new reduced syllabus. Clear? So when you go through the book, through the content part, you will see those topics like morphology and modification of root, stems and leaf. But now in the new reduced syllabus, those topic has been removed. Okay, so we are only going to deal with those topics which are there in our new reduced syllabus. Alright, so from your textbook, open the page number 5.41. okay, page number 5.41. There you will get the topic, the flower. So from there we'll begin with this new chapter. So generally flowers are the most fascinating part, the most attractive part of a plant. Clear? And those plants which are like with the flower, they are called angiosperm or the angiospermic plant. And the plant without the flower, they are called gymnosperm. Okay, so we have got gymnosperm, we have got angiosperm. So gymnosperm, where the seeds are naked, which do not bear flower, whereas angiosperm, they used to bear the flower. Okay, and the seeds are provided or protected with the seed coat. So what is the actual definition of a flower? Because all of us has seen the flower. So what is the main definition of a flower? So generally flower is a condensed specialized shoot of an angiospermic plant. Angiospermic plant means the angiosperms. Okay, and it arises from the axil of a small leaf-like structure which is called the bract. Now which part is the bract in a flower? So if you look at the structure of a flower, you will find the leaf-like structure. Okay, so this structure is called the bract. So flowers used to arise from the axil of a small leaf-like structure which is called the bract. Clear? Next point. Flowers are generally born on a short or a long pedicel. Now which part is the pedicel part? Can you see over here? The long slender part from here to here. This long slender part is called the pedicel. Okay, so flowers are generally born on a short or long pedicels, and the upper solan region of the pedicel is called the receptacle or a thalamus. Now which part is thalamus or receptacle? So if you look at the structure of a pedicel, upper part means this portion. Okay, so the upper portion of a pedicel means this particular portion, which usually looks like solan in structure. So this particular structure is known as thalamus or receptacle. If you look at these particular structures, this one is the pedicel part, okay, and this upper part, which is usually solan structure, is the receptacle part or the thalamus part. So this part of a flower is the receptacle or thalamus. Next point. Now flowers with the pedicels, they are called pedicellate flower, and the flowers without the pedicel, they are known as the sessile flower. Now in this particular chapter we are going to get the new terms. Okay, so you have to remember the definition of each terms we are going to get in this particular chapter. So if the question comes what is pedicellate, then you have to say that the flowers which has the pedicel is known as pedicellate, and the flowers without the pedicel are known as sessile. Now next one is bracteole. Bracteole means it's compared with bract. Okay, so bracteole is the secondary bract which are present at the base of a flower. Now over here, bract we have seen over here, right? Okay, now flowers which has got the bract, flowers with the bract, they are called bracteolate. Okay, so flowers which has got the bract, they are called bracteolate, and there are certain flowers without the bract. So those flowers without the bract, they are called ebracteolate. Okay, so we are getting the term pedicellate, we are getting the term sessile, we are getting the term bracteolate, we are getting the term ebracteolate. So kindly remember the definition of each of these particular term. Clear? So let's move to next slide. Now these are the different part of the flower which you have seen, the pedicel part, the thalamus part, we have seen the bract part also. Now we learn about the parts of a flower. So what are the different parts of flower? So in fact we have been learning this particular one, the parts of flower, since let's say from class 9, right? So what are different parts of flower? So when we see the different parts of flower, generally there are 4 main important parts or the walls of a flower. They are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, calyx means which part? Calyx means the sepal part. Corolla means the most colorful part of a flower, which is called the petal. Then we have got the androecium part, right? That is the male part, that is stamen also, and we have got the gynoecium part, which is called the pistil or carpel, or the female part of a flower. So these are the 4 holes or the 4 parts of a flower, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, like this seems to be a short revision for you also, because all of us have learned this particular structure of flower from a junior class only. So now we are going to learn in details about these 4 holes or the 4 parts of a flower. So let us begin with the first part, that is the calyx. Okay, calyx also known as the sepals. So it is the outermost hole of a flower. It is composed of leaf like green sepals. And what is the function of sepals? Try to remember what is the function of sepals. Sepals used to protect the bud or the flower in its young stage. So the outermost part of a flower is the calyx, and it is composed of a leaf like green sepals. So if you look over here, so this outermost part of a flower is usually called the sepal or the calyx. So if you look over here into the flowering part, so generally when we look at structures, right? So here the green part of the flower, can you see this green part of the flower? This green part of the flower is the sepal part. Okay, and it will protect the flower or the bud, let's say, flowering its initial stage of development or in its bud stage. Okay, then let's come to the second part of a flower, which is the corolla, the second part or the second hole of a flower, and it consists of a number of petals, and generally these petals is to be very attractive, all right, because they are brightly colored, they are scented and are of various shapes. And the main function of these particular petals or the corolla is to attract the insect for the process of pollination. And what is pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the same flower, or to that of the another flower present on the same plant or different plant. So corolla, we can see the unit of corolla is usually the petals, which is brightly colored. So over here, this particular petals or the corolla, let's check out the colorful diagram. So here, this colorful part of the flower, can you see? This colorful part of the flower is the petal or the corolla. Okay, here also you can see this most important, or this colorful part of the flower is the petal, or we can say the corolla. Now let's move to the next part of the flower, that is androecium, which is the male reproductive organ of a flower, and it mainly consists of stamens. And stamen is further divided into filament, anther and connective. In your junior classes, you have only learned that androecium or stamen is mainly composed of 2 parts, filament and the anther. Okay, but now in higher classes you will learn that the stamen is mainly composed of filament, anther and the connective. In class 12 you will learn that the anther is bilobed. It is composed of 2 lobes. Okay, or 2 parts, simply let's say. Composed of 2 parts, and each part is connected to each other by the help of a connective. So generally androecium is the male part of a flower. It consists of stamens, and stamen is further divided into filament, anther and connective. So let's see which part is the stamen part or the androecium part. Clear? So if you look over here in the diagram, so here this one is the androecium. Okay, so this is the stamen part, and this is the longer slender part, which is called the filament part, and in the anther only you will find the connective. Okay, so let's look over here. So in the diagram you can see over here, so this part is the anther. Okay, so these are the anther, which is a bilobed structures. Even here also you can see the structure. This is the anther. Okay, and the long slender structures where the anther are present, these part of the structures, these structures are called the filament. So here also this is the anther, and this part is the filament part. So this is the anther part, okay, and this is the filament part, and in the anther you will find the connective also. So stamen, is mainly composed of anther, filament, and connective. Now let's move to the next part, that is gynoecium. Okay, and mainly, what is the main function of androecium? Androecium, they used to produce the male gamete, or we can say is to produce the pollen grain. Okay, now gynoecium, with the fourth part or the fourth whole of flower, it is the female reproductive organ. They also called pistil. Okay, and it is composed of stigma, style, and ovary, and in fact also known as carpel also. Now let's see which part is the gynoecium part. So generally this part is the gynoecium part. This is the stigma. Now what is the function of stigma? The function of stigma is to receive the pollen grain. Then this part is called the style. So from the style, the pollen tube will run and enter inside the ovary. Then we have got next part is called the ovary. Inside the ovary we will find the ovules. Okay, so here is the stigma part. Okay, this part is the style, and this lower portion is the ovary part. So stigma, style, and ovary, these are the female part of a flower or the pistil part of a flower, and within the ovary or inside the ovary you will find the ovule. Okay, the female gamete. All right, so these are the different parts of a flower, and so remember that male gamete or the androecium, they used to produce the pollen grain, and the female gamete is usually the ovule. So stigma is to receive the pollen grain from the style. Whenever the pollen grain germinates, on reaching the stigma, the pollen tube will emerge out on germination, and that pollen tube will run through the style and enter inside the ovary, and within the ovary we will find the ovules. So ovules form the seeds after fertilization, and ovary becomes the fruit. That is called post-fertilization changes. So after fertilization, the ovule will develop, the ovule will develop into seed, and the ovary will develop into the fruit. Okay, this is the post-fertilization changes in a flower after fertilization. Okay, so we have finished these different parts of flowers. Remember, they are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. All right. Okay, now you have to remember the function of each part of a flower. Okay, the function of calyx, the function of corolla, the function of androecium, and the function of gynoecium. Do remember each and every part and the respective function. Now let's begin with the next topic, that is taxonomic description of a flower. How can we describe a flower? Okay, so first of all we will describe the flower by the presence of the accessory and necessary wholes of a flower. Okay, so we're beginning with the topic taxonomic description of a flower. It's in the page number 5.44. So the first one we are going to discuss about accessory and necessary wholes of a flower. Now we learned that there are four parts or the four wholes of a flower, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. But out of the four wholes of a flower, only two of them are involved directly in the process of reproduction, whereas the other two will simply help in the process of reproduction. Now those parts which are directly involved in reproductions are called the necessary or the essential or the reproductive wholes of a flower, and those parts which will simply help in the process of reproduction are called the accessory or non-essential wholes of a flower. So now we are going to see which part of the flower are essential and which part of the flower are non-essential. So my dear, sepals and petals, they are not directly involved in the process of reproduction. They will simply help in the process of reproductions, and therefore they are called accessory or non-essential wholes of a flower. On the other hand, the androecium and the gynoecium, the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ of a flower, they will take part directly in the process of reproduction, because they used to produce the male gamete and the female gamete, that is the pollen grain and the egg. Okay, so they are called the necessary or essential or the reproductive wholes of a flower because they take part in reproduction. Okay, so now you can see over here the floral parts. We are divided into two parts, the non-essential part and the essential part. In the non-essential part, we have got calyx and corolla. Okay, the unit of calyx is sepals and the unit of corolla is petals. So generally we used to call sepal as calyx and petal as corolla. So they are not directly involved in the process of reproduction, but they simply used to help in this process. So they are called the non-essential part of a flower. On the other hand, you can see the essential part of a flower. So essential part, we are divided into androecium and gynoecium. Androecium, the male reproductive organ of a flower, which is mainly composed of stamens, and stamen is further composed of anther, filament, and the connective, and this to produce the male gamete of a flower. Then you got gynoecium, okay, the female part of a flower, which bears the carpels, or let's say stigma, style, and ovary. Okay, so they are directly involved in the process of reproduction, and they are called the essential part of a flower. Clear? Okay, now next one we'll talk about bisexual, unisexual, and neuter flower. Now what is bisexual flower? When the flowers bears both the stamens and the carpels, that means when the flower has both androecium and gynoecium, then such flowers are called bisexual flowers, also called hermaphrodite flower. Example like China rose, okay, hibiscus. Then P, they are bisexual flower. In such flowers we will find both the stamens and the carpels. And when only one essential whole is present, let's say if we will find only androecium in a flower or only gynoecium in a flower, then they are called unisexual flower. Uni means one, so only one reproductive wholes or the part will be present. Either we will find androecium or either we will find gynoecium. And such flowers will be called unisexual flower. Examples are cucurbits, mulberry. And what is neuter flower? N-E-U-T-E-R flower. Neuter means a sterile flower, because those flowers are without androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so such flowers are neuter flower, which does not have the male and the female reproductive organ. Example are the ray florets of sunflower, and in fact you have learned this one also in class 9 also, with the ray florets of sunflower. They are the neuter flower. Now next one, polygamous, monoecious, and dioecious plants. Now what are polygamous plant? Poly means multi. So plants with the bisexual, unisexual, and the neuter flowers are called the polygamous plants. Okay, so in polygamous plants we will find all the three types of flower: unisexual flower, bisexual flower, and the neuter flower. Example is mango. Now what is monoecious plant? So plants having unisexual flower, okay, that is pistillate and staminate. Pistillate means female part of flower. Pistillate, just break the word, pistil. Okay, so flowers with pistil are called pistillate, that is the female flower, and staminate, stamen. So don't get confused. Okay, so pistillate, let's break it, we will find pistil, female part of a flower. Staminate, stamens, the male part of a flower. Okay, so plants having unisexual flower, that is pistillate and staminate, on the same plant are called monoecious flower, like castor, cucurbits, and maize, or like that bisexual flower. Okay, I've done some simple mistakes. That's simply the bisexual flower. The next one we learn about the dioecious plants. Okay, they bear the unisexual flower, that is, in one particular plant we will find the male sex organ, and in the other plant we will find the female sex organ. Okay, that means they are present separately. Okay, so plant species bearing unisexual flower, that is male and female flower on separate plants. If the male and the female flowers are present on the same plant, they are called dioecious. Sorry, they are called monoecious plant. But if the male and the female flowers are present on the separate plant, they are called dioecious plant. Example, mulberry, date, and palm. Okay, so polygamous means in such plants we will find bisexual flower, we will find unisexual flower, and we will even find the neuter flower. And if the male and the female sex organs are present on the same flower, we will call it monoecious plant. But if the male and the female sex organs are present on a different plant, on a separate plant, then we will call it dioecious plant. Examples are mulberry, date, and palm. Clear? So don't get confused between monoecious and the dioecious plants. Alright, now next one we'll talk about complete and incomplete flower. So we learned that there are 4 parts of a flower. If all the 4 essential parts or the wholes are present in a flower, then they are called complete flower. That means those flowers contains calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. But if any one of the whole is missing in a flower, if any one of the part is missing in a flower, then that flower is called incomplete flower. That means calyx and corolla might be present. Suppose let's say calyx, corolla is there, but out of androecium and gynoecium, if only one is there, let's say there is calyx, corolla, androecium, there is no gynoecium, then they are called incomplete flower. Okay, so if all the 4 parts or the 4 wholes are present, then they are called complete flower. Example, China rose, cotton. But if any one of the 4 wholes out of the 4 are missing, then that is called incomplete flower. Example, it's cucurbits. Okay, next one we'll talk about symmetry in flowers. We have learned about symmetry in animals. If you remember, radial symmetry, bilateral symmetry. Okay, similarly here also we have got the symmetry in flower also. We will find the arrangement of floral appendages on the axis of a flower. Okay, so depending on that, we have got the 3 types of flower: actinomorphic flower or regular flower, we have got zygomorphic flower or irregular flower, and we have got asymmetrical flower. Like asymmetrical animals, we have got asymmetrical flower. So let us describe each and every term. Okay, first one, actinomorphic or regular flower. So such flowers can be divided into 2 equal halves from any vertical plane. Can you see the figure number A? If you look at the figure number A, this flower can be divided into 2 equal halves from any plane. So this is the first plane, the second plane, okay, this is the third plane. So from any plane, from any direction, if the flower can be divided into 2 equal and similar halves, then that is called actinomorphic flower or regular flower. Example is brinjal rose. Let's go to the next one, zygomorphic or irregular flower. Such a flower can be divided into 2 equal halves by only one vertical plane. Okay, so from only one particular direction, the flower can be divided into 2 equal halves. So such flowers are called zygomorphic flower or irregular flower. Example is pea or awasima. And third one is asymmetrical animals. A means no. So such flowers cannot be divided into 2 equal halves from any plane or from any direction. So figure number C is the asymmetrical animals, and such flowers are the asymmetrical flowers, and such flowers cannot be divided into 2 equal halves from any plane or from any direction. Clear this one? Now next one we'll talk about isomerous and heteromerous flowers. So flower is iso means same. Okay, flower is said to be isomerous. Remember the term iso means same. Okay, so such flowers has got the same basic number of parts in a floral organs. Okay, and isomerous flowers, it may be bimerous with 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4, or pentamerous means 5. So here the isomerous flowers have got the same basic number of parts in the floral organs and divided into bimerous, trimerous, tetramerous or pentamerous, okay, according to the number of parts in each whole. It can be 2, 3, 4 or 5. 2 means bi, 3 means tri, then 4 means tetra, 5 means penta. Okay, it can be in multiple of that also. Then heteromerous, hetero means different. Okay, so when the number in the wholes is neither the same nor in the multiple, okay, then it is called hetero, means different. So they are called heteromerous flowers. So generally the dicot flowers are usually di, tetra or pentamerous, whereas the monocot flowers are always trimerous. Okay, next one we'll learn about the hypogynous, perigynous and the epigynous flowers. Okay, so depending upon the form of thalamus, listen very carefully, depending upon the form of thalamus and the position of the floral holes on the thalamus with respect to the ovary, the flowers can be divided into hypogynous flower, it can be divided into perigynous flower and the epigynous flower. This has been differentiated according to the form of the thalamus, the shape of the thalamus and the position of the floral parts, the position of sepal, petal, androecium and gynoecium, like sepal and petal with respect to the ovary. Clear? So here we are going to look at this shape, the size of the thalamus as well as the position of the floral parts. We are going to look at the structure of the sepals, the structure of the petals and the structure and the location of the stamen part also. but we are comparing it with the location of the or the position of the ovary. So first of all, we'll discuss about the hypogynous flower. Okay, look in the figure. It's in the page number 5.45. So we'll look at the figure also and we'll go through the paragraph also. Okay, so it will be clear for you. So first one, in case of hypogynous flower, the thalamus is convex. Can you see over here? The broad part of the pedicel, this is the pedicel part. This longer stalk is the pedicel part, and the swollen part is the pedicel part. Sorry, thalamus part. Okay, so here if you look at the structure of the thalamus is convex. Okay, and ovary occupies the highest position on it. So here you can see this one is the ovary part, this one is the thalamus part, this one is the ovary. Okay, now the outer three holes, that is sepals, petal, stamens, are inserted one above the other. Can you see over here? First we are finding the sepal part over here, then we are finding the petal part, then we are finding the stamen part. So the sepal, petal, stamens are inserted one above the other. First there is sepal, then we are finding the petal, then we are finding the stamen part. But the ovary, they lies above all the three parts. So when we look at the structure of the ovary is situated just above the sepal, just above the petal, and just above the stamen. Okay, and since the ovary lies above all the other three parts of flower, therefore it is called the superior ovary. It lies at the top of the other floral holes or the floral parts. Example is brinjal, China rose, and mustard. In such case, we will find hypogynous flower. So in hypogynous flower, the thalamus is convex and ovary with highest position. Okay, sepals, petals, stamen, they just lie above one another, but the ovary will be at the above of all the three parts. And since ovary lies above all the three parts of flower, it is called superior ovary. Okay, now let's go to the next one, that is perigynous flower. So in perigynous flower, the receptacle or thalamus, it forms a shallow or the deep cup shaped structure. So here we will find the different shape of the thalamus. It can be a cup shape, it can be a flask shape, okay, it can be a shallow shape also. So depending upon the types, okay, or the structure, let's say structure of thalamus, this perigynous flower has been divided into disc shaped, cup shaped, and the flask shaped. Clear? So we are going to first discuss about the disc shaped perigynous flower. The first one is the disc shaped perigynous flower. So you will follow the figure number B in the page number 5.45, figure number 5.7a. So figure number B is the disc shaped perigynous flower. Okay, so here in disc shaped, the thalamus is flat. Can you see over here? The thalamus is flat, and gynoecium lies in the center. At the center you will find the gynoecium. Okay, this one is the gynoecium part. So gynoecium lies in the center. This one is the ovary part. Okay, so gynoecium lies in the center, and the other floral parts occur at the same level on the periphery. At the same level we will find the other floral parts like the sepals, the petals, and the stamens. So in disc shaped one, the thalamus is flat like a disc. Okay, but the gynoecium lies in the center, and the other floral parts like the sepals, petals, and the stamens, they will lie at the same level on the periphery. And such type of structures we will find in the flower of cassia, pea, and gram. And here also, since ovary is the center, the ovary will be superior one. Then let's move to the next one, that is cup shaped, figure number C. Okay, the cup shaped perigynous flower. So margin of the thalamus is turned upward. If you look at the thalamus part over here, it is usually turned upward. Okay, so the margin of the thalamus is turned upward, and it forms like a cup or a saucer shape structure. It forms a cup like structure or a saucer, S-A-U-C-E-R, or a saucer shape structures. Then the gynoecium, the female part of a flower, it grows from the bottom of the cup. Can you see over here? This is the bottom of the cup. So from the bottom of the cup or the saucer part of thalamus, we will find the presence of gynoecium. While the other floral parts, they are present at the rim of the thalamus. If you look over here, this is the rim of the thalamus. Okay, so the other floral parts like the sepal, the petal, the stamens are present at the rim of the thalamus, but the gynoecium will develop from the bottom of the thalamus. So this type of flower is called cup-shaped perigynous flower. Here also the position of ovary is superior, and you will find this type of structure in the peach and in the prunus flower. Then let's go to the next one, that is the flask-shaped perigynous flower. In the flask-shaped perigynous flower, that is figure number D. Okay, the margin of the thalamus grows upward. It is further growing upward. If you look at the structure D and C, you can compare the structures of the thalamus. Here, in case of flask-shaped perigynous flower, the thalamus grows upward and produces a hollow flask. Okay, it forms a hollow flask-like structures, and at the bottom we will find the presence of gynoecium, and the remaining part of the flower are present at the mouth of the flask. This is the mouth of the flask. Okay, so the remaining part of the flowers we are finding at the mouth of the flask, and at the bottom of the thalamus we are finding the presence of gynoecium or the ovary. And said that this type of flower also has got the superior ovary, but since ovary is present at the bottom of the thalamus and other four parts at the mouth of the flask, it's also said that the ovary is not superior, but it is half inferior. Okay, and you will find this type of structure in case of plum and peach. Clear? So we have finished perigynous flower also. We divided into disc-shaped, cup-shaped, and the flask-shaped. Now the next one is epigynous flower. Okay, figure number E. So thalamus not only surrounds the ovary completely, but also includes it and fuses with the ovary wall. So here, if you look at structures, the thalamus will completely surround the ovary. So this one is the ovary. Okay, and here the thalamus is completely surrounding the ovary. Okay, it will surround the ovary completely, but also includes it and fuses with the ovary wall. It will fuse with the ovary wall also. Sepals, you can see over here, sepals, petals, stamens, they rise from the top of the ovary. So this one is the ovary, and from top of the ovary we will find the origin of sepals, we will find the petals, and even we will find the stamen part or the male part of a flower. So such flowers are said to be epigynous flower, and in this case the ovary is inferior. Examples, you can see the guava, apple, and the sunflower. Okay, so here we have finished the taxonomic description of our flower. From next class we will begin with the taxonomic description of floral parts. So this much for today. Thank you. See you in next class.